Good evening. We are C102 Gold, and we will be presenting Emerging Technology 3D Printing in Healthcare for our MIS Spring 22 course. And here are the team members. We have Jasmine, Chrissy, Imani, Gary, Elise, and Melena.
3D printing is also known as additive manufacturing. It's a process that was originated in the 1980s by Chuck Holt. Autodesk, which is a large CAD software company, defines 3D printing as a family of processes that produces objects by adding materials and layers that correspond to successive cross sections of a 3D model. A CAD software is used to model the 3D output. The 3D printer uses a similar printing process as a common printer. Instead of using ink to print, a plastic or metal alloy is used. Compared to traditional manufacturing, which is known as subtractive manufacturing, additive manufacturing uses 98% of the raw material, which also requires less manufacturing process steps. The application of 3D printing is used in numerous industries, including the medical field. In some disciplines, such as regenerative medicine, bioprinting is being used since 2015 to manufacture biometric tissues and organs. Some examples include constructing cranial implants, liver cells, and skin. Bioprinting is typically completed via inkjet-based, laser-based, extrusion-based, or stereolithography. Essentially, inkjet-based printers are a modification of a common printer. One major difference is that the ink is composed of biomaterial or cells, called bioink. Laser-based printing uses energy from lasers to modify the droplets of cells and biomaterial. Extrusion-based printing extrudes cell and biomaterial strands. Lastly, stereolithography uses UV light laser to modify photosensitive material and damage-induced cells. Overall, the bioprinting process is similar to the typical 3D printing process. However, the information for the CAD models are extracted from MRIs or CT images. Various forms of 3D printing continue to evolve as many researchers and fields continue to use and test its deliverables.
3D printing has a number of advantages, including cost reduction, flexibility, reduced reduction time, consistency, and quality. Rapid prototyping is one of the most significant advantages of 3D printing. It has the ability to produce and test and modify, if necessary, customized parts in a minimal amount of time. Unlike traditional prototyping methods that require many expensive machines and result in high labor costs, 3D printing requires only a few pieces of equipment to manufacture its parts and also results in less waste material. 3D printing is extremely flexible in that it allows users to create unique and customized parts using multiple materials. Each part manufactured in the 3D printing process is monitored closely, which allows workers to quickly detect defects, eliminate the failed parts, and consistently produce quality products.
3D printing can open up a lot of doors for healthcare systems and its patients. With the new creation of this new technology, the medical industry can be enhanced. This technology can be used to create the new surgical and drill guides, prosthetics, as well as the creation of bones, organs, and blood vessels that are custom to each patient. 3D printing can also lead to lighter, stronger, and safer products, reduce lead times, and lower costs. This new advancement can help healthcare systems to better understand their patients and to help them improve the patient comfort level by providing them with products that were designed especially for their anatomy. With the new developments that have recently been made, 3D printing has also been useful to help with the sudden spark of COVID-19 and shortage of PPE. Some of those items include face shields, N95 masks, nozzle swabs, and ventilators, as well as so much more.
And these are some of the healthcare risks and challenges with 3D printing. 3D printing currently is not sustainable or eco friendly. Most 3D printed medical devices are created using plastic and require a fair amount of energy to manufacture. Manufacturers will need to accept the cost to the environment or continue to research alternatives that are more sustainable. 3D printing is still considered new technology, which means quality is not always consistent compared to traditional manufacturing methods. Some of the defects in 3D printing include irregular texture from printing or variations in dimensions of the devices. In addition, extra manual labor may be needed to correct defects, which adds cost to the process. Although 3D printed prosthetics or devices can be affordable, they are not durable. The majority are made of thin plastic, which can break easily if pulled on or pressure is applied from the wrong direction. These are a few of the challenges or cons associated with 3D printing in healthcare. As more research and methods are completed, the manufacturing and durability will improve.
To implement 3D printing into our organization, there is a high initial cost. The existing computers will need to be upgraded to newer operating systems and include higher processors, preferably i7. These computers will need to be sufficient to run newly purchased CAD software for 3D printing. Additional costs will incur to either hire engineers or train existing employees to model in the CAD software. There will be an additional cost to purchase capital equipment, the 3D printers. After purchasing the printers, the layout will need to be altered to accommodate the housing of the capital equipment. After initial startup costs, the actual manufacturing costs are lower than traditional manufacturing. Not only is 3D printing cheaper to manufacture, but it's also quicker to produce. The projected revenue versus the cost to manufacture suggests that 3D printing could potentially be a profitable investment in the future.
Currently, 3D printing is not recommended for the healthcare system. 3D printing is a new technology, and products might not be up to the same quality as the original manufactured medical products. There could be an expensive initial startup cost depending on the types of printers used, how many are needed, and the supplies to start printing products. Healthcare systems are still facing the negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The dramatic increase in COVID cases led to reductions in inpatient and outpatient volumes, driving declines in revenue and margins. During the pandemic, healthcare systems saw a loss of $323 billion between March and June of 2020. As cases continue to rise, the cost of treating a COVID patient exceeds the expected reimbursement, resulting in more significant losses. Budget cuts were implemented in all departments to save money when possible to make up for some of the lost revenue. A survey from Bain & Company was released in spring of 2020 to show 70% of the health IT departments experienced a budget cut resulting from COVID. Also, 60% of U.S. hospitals didn't expect to complete their capital purchases from 2020 until mid-2021. Healthcare systems continue to see a shortage in staff and increased work hours from current employees. As a result, hospitals are forced to use professional staffing firms to hire for needed positions. Healthcare facilities still do not have enough staff to cover all shifts appropriately.
Our recommendation is to wait until the technology matures more, approximately 5 years, before diving into this investment. However, we do encourage a future incorporation of 3D printing and to begin the planning process now. The industry is projecting an increase in collaborations between engineers and the medical staff, so to begin the planning process, an engineer should be hired. A fiscal plan needs to be developed, space needs to be outlined, and having an engineer on board during the planning and budgeting processes would be beneficial. Here you can see the breakdown of future benefits for different levels of our community. For individuals, as the technology continues to mature and the printing of human organs becomes a reality, the wait for an organ will be a process of the past and benefit everyone, especially our aging population. Not only will tailored organs be available, but 3D printing is projected to be used for developing and creating custom surgical instruments and implants for our patients. For communities and the general population, 3D printing will contribute to alleviation and hopefully the elimination of public health inequities by providing a cost-effective, efficient, and speedy solution. This technology is expected to allow researchers to fast-track drug development and testing, which ultimately
leads to a decrease in the cost of said medications. The 3D printing technology is also expected to improve the opportunity for researchers to study disease models in real time with the ability to control different molecular factors. Investing in this technology, once it matures, will provide the company an opportunity to provide the best service for our patients while decreasing our costs and saving the patients money and time. 3D printing has fewer steps than traditional manufacturing and is continuing to improve the bioinks used for production of medical field items. Benefits of additive manufacturing identified are rapid prototyping, flexibility, and quality of products created. Risks and challenges include sustainability, quality variations, and durability. Impacts to our organization are the need to hire at least one engineer, finding a physical space to house the machinery, materials, and staff, and outlining the process for upgrading computer hardware and software. The short-term recommendation is to wait a few years before taking the dive. The long-term recommendation is to hire an engineer in the next year and begin the planning and budgeting process now with the intention of incorporating the technology in 5 years.